Hello, my name is Danielle Skogen, and I'm the co-founder of Asociación SERniña and also Women's Leadership Coach and consultant for women leaders and women-centered organizations. I'm pleased to be highlighting key findings in research from a recently published study in the Violence Against Women journal. This study, entitled Using Our Brave Voice, a Holistic Family Intervention to Reduce Gender-Based Violence in an Indigenous Guatemalan Community, was written by lead author Dr. Judith Gibbons of the Department of Psychology of the St. Louis University, with the support of co-authors myself and my colleague at the Real Girl Foundation, Anea Bogue. The purpose of the study was to evaluate the impact and effectiveness of a holistic, family-centered intervention conducted in an Indigenous community in Guatemala. The program of focus was aimed at reducing gender-based violence among participating family members. This intervention was designed and implemented by Asociación SERniña, a local Guatemalan gender equity organization. Since 2015, SERniña has offered gender equity and empowerment programs for girls and women. And in 2017, they also began working with boys. Recognizing that most incidents of violence in Guatemalan communities and among SERniña families happen in the home, in 2021, with the support of the Fund for Innovation and Transformation and Global Affairs Canada, and in partnership with their U.S. partner, the Real Girl Foundation, and Canadian partner, Real Humanitarian, SERniña developed and implemented a more integrated and holistic model that sought to engage entire families in violence prevention and response work. The program took place in El Hato, an indigenous Maya community in Guatemala. Guatemala has a national population of approximately 17 million people, and nearly 40% of those people identify as indigenous. Guatemala faces deeply entrenched challenges, including extremely high rates of poverty. In fact, over 55% of the population lives in poverty, and when we look at indigenous communities alone, that number rises to 80%. And there's also widespread gender-based violence across the country. Indigenous women and girls are disproportionately impacted due to intersecting effects of poverty, racism, discrimination, limited access to education and employment, and deeply rooted structural gender inequality. The intervention was holistic in two ways. First, it embraced a holistic approach, which is demonstrated on the left of the slide. It offered a comprehensive range of components tailored to community-identified needs and goals. These included empowerment workshops, educational workshops, individual, group, and family therapy sessions, capacity building sessions, and access to violence response services. The program also integrated traditional Mayan healing practices led by local practitioners and incorporated restorative justice principles to promote accountability and healing in cases of harm. On the right, you will see that the intervention aimed to be also holistic in its reach, engaging not only girls and women, but also their families, including boys and men. It extended further into the broader community by also involving educators and community leaders, recognizing that true transformation requires collective participation. You will see that even though we worked with many different stakeholders, girls are represented at the center of the image. And this is because though we worked with different groups, the main focus and goal of the program was to improve and advance the empowerment and safety of girls. To assess the impact of the 13-month intervention program, we use both qualitative and quantitative methods to evaluate changes in attitudes, behaviors, and family dynamics. Some of the key outcomes of the program that we share in the study in more depth include 3/4 of participating families reporting reduced violence and improved family dynamics and improved family relationships. Almost 82% reporting feeling safer in their home. We also were able to see significant improvements in individual emotional regulation, and over 90% of participating women took specific actions towards their empowerment as a result of the program, such as returning to school or opening a small business. Workshop participants also demonstrated more egalitarian views on gender roles. Qualitative findings also demonstrated significant shifts in the participants' attitudes, beliefs, and behaviors. Themes such as increased self-respect, improved relationships, and more gender equity among spouses were significant through lines in interviews and focus groups. Another key change was the increase in personal advocacy, especially among girls and women, who frequently shared how they are better able to speak up for themselves, quoting one of the program's key teaching points of using our brave voice, the inspiration for the title of our study. Beyond the data, the interventions surface valuable lessons that can inform broader gender-based violence prevention efforts. Notably, the research underscored the effectiveness of engaging entire families, including male family members, as a key strategy for sustainable impact in regards to gender-based violence. It challenges the prevailing model of focusing interventions solely on women and girls, and instead advocates for inclusive, community, and family-driven approaches. We also observed significant outcomes through the integration of trauma-informed and healing-centered care. While many programs move quickly into empowerment or leadership work, our findings suggest that true empowerment begins with healing. By addressing trauma first, particularly through culturally grounded practices like Mayan healing modalities in this case, we saw deeper, more lasting change. These practices not only increased participant engagement, but also fostered cultural pride and collective healing. In the full article, we provide a detailed analysis of the program design, methodology, context, and findings. We invite you to dive deeper into the research by exploring the full article, and we hope that the research contributes to the broader conversation about community-based, culturally responsive approaches to preventing gender-based violence. I'm happy to provide our contact info here should you wish to reach out to any of the co-authors or the lead organization, Asociación SERniña, for future dialogue, learning, and collaboration as we all work together to find effective strategies to reduce gender-based violence and advance equity across the globe. Thank you all, and have a great day.